Hello, good morning or good afternoon, everyone.
Hello, Rostyo.
So you can hear me. This is good. So today we will talk on the Clack valves. So I think we will wait for another few minutes to make sure everyone who wanted to join has joined us. So I believe you can see my screen now. So I think that everyone who wanted to join has already joined us. Let's check how many people we have today. Today we have almost 20 people. So we can start. So good morning, good afternoon. We have many countries, many time zones. So we will talk on the Clack valves. So first of all, I would introduce myself. I'm Rostislav Mudrik from Ecosoft, product chief of product development. Also, I would like to introduce to you our guest is Andriy Michenko, the CEO of Ecosoft.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's great to see you all here. Good morning.
And for today, we have selected one of the most popular topic for the water professionals is the valve for water softeners. And we at Ecosoft, we apply and we build water filtration units based on the Clack valves for many years. So I will, for those who are first time at our Friday talks, I will shortly introduce the arrangement for today. So for the first 10 to 15 minutes, I will talk on the Clack valve, so showing some pictures and putting some main focus. Then we have a discussion with Andriy on the technical business and business development approaches of Ecosoft, and then we will answer your questions. So last time we agreed that you may ask questions both ways, so you can put your questions in chat. If you want to ask a question, so to put any comments aloud, you can raise your hand. So somewhere in the interface of Teams, you may find this your hand up, and then we will enable your microphone, and then you may ask question. So it depends on you. So I will start with the short presentation. So I think you may see my screen now. So the topic of today's discussion is the Clack WS valve, the water specialist top valve. So in my opinion, this is the Clack valve is the top valve or the best choice of dealers all around the world. And the name the name Clack WS means water specialists. So it was designed for us, for people who do water treatment. And before I will start with the explanation of what kind of valves we use. So in total, we have a variety of at least 4 valves. So the most popular are 1-inch valve, and we use them for the B block units. So we use the CE valve. We will talk a little more in details on it. CE means Clack Ecosoft. I believe that all of you know what the CI valve is, a black one, not on the picture. CI stands for Clack International, and then we have the CT valve. CT valve is a time-controlled valve that is mainly used for the activated carbon filters. Also, we have the twin valves, both the CI and CE valves, and they are all 1-inch valve. Also, there is a relatively new valve that is called WDV valve or disc valve that was designed for the cabinets, and you may see it on the picture on the left. And also, we have a variety of larger valves, starting from 1.25 and then end up with 2-inch, and basically there is also 3-inch valve that you may apply for tanks 21 up to 42 or even 63-inch in diameter. So this is the range of the valves. Important to mention that the Clack valves has the highest service flow rate on the market. So on this slide, I show what is the flow rate of the 1-inch valve. So this is 6.1 cubes an hour, and you may see that the difference, the flow rate is up to 25 or 26 cubes an hour for 2-inch. And what is also important to mention that the backwash flow rate is also quite high, and it means that we can use one valve, like 1-inch valve, or not only for softeners, but also for heavy medias like iron removals media, like activated carbon, because the backwash flow rate in most of application equal to the service flow rate. The smaller valves are made of plastic, a special plastic that is called Noril, and the bigger valve, larger valves made of lead-free brass. And I will also show a little bit later the accessories. So various valves, various 3-way valves. Inside, what is inside? So the Clack valve is a piston-based valve. In comparison to other valves on the market that may be a disc valve or plate valves. So inside the valve there is a piston and there is a spacer and a motor. So the motor drives the piston, and depends on what is the position of the piston. We have either service flow rate, or we have the backwash or regeneration. So the small valves I have mentioned, they are made of food grade Noril. It means that you can easily clean the valve and all the parts of the valve during the maintenance. And this is one of the reasons why water professionals love this valve, because you can put it on quite a hard water or quite a problem water with iron, and after a year of operation you can easily remove all the sediments of iron and then put it in operation quite fast. Inside the valve there is a motor. The motor is a standard piece of equipment, came from automotive industry. In particular, it is used in Mercedes cars to rise and close the windows. So it is bidirectional valve, so a bidirectional engine. So it means that we can, for us, for water professionals, it means that we could set regeneration sequence quite flexible. So we could do backwash, rinse, or other stages thanks to this feature. And to make it operating in the in the automatic way. So there is a PC board. I will talk later on it. So the PC board connects the piston and the engine and make the complete valve operates in automatic way. A good thing about the control valve is that you can take it apart with your hands, basically, and also you can put it together. You don't need any special devices. The only thing is needed is a wrench. So it is designed in the way that it's very easy to make the maintenance. And there is a saying that Clack says that no screws to lose. So it means that inside only plastic parts, and all the parts are quite large. So during the maintenance, it is less likely you will lose something. It is quite easy to connect the drain line, the brine line, the inlet and outlet, because it is designed in the way to make it fast with the John Guest speed feed or other speed connections. Besides the range, there is a variety. These are only some of them. A variety of accessories, for example, the node hard water bypass. So this is basically an advanced version of the solenoid valve, the bypass assembly that helps you to easily connect and disconnect the filtration unit from the water supply system. We have the motorized three-way valve. This is for application where you want to use, for example, water from alternative source for backwashing, mixing valves, a variety of connections. There is another range that is called spacer stack. So when you have water with high amount of iron and you don't do service very often, you cannot remove the spacer from the. When you cannot remove the spacer from the valve, you can use this range, a special range for service. If you want to build a big system, you can apply Clack system controller and build a system with up to 6 filters operating in parallel. So this accessories allows you to make a tailor-made project based on the standard equipment. So this is what accessories helps to do. Then a Clack controller. So this is a very smart part of the valve that operates the motor and drives the complete valve. And there is what is more important, that this board prevents the damage of the valve during the operation, because it feels what is the state of the valve if it's damaged or not damaged, and then if needed, it will stop and show the errors. And this is also a reliable part of the valve. And I will also stop on some comparison of the control valve, of Clack control valve with other valves. So the biggest difference between Clack and Kanacher, Rankine, Eco Water valve is the flow rate. So the service flow rate is the highest in this range, and it means that you can use one valve to put on the filters from 6 to 21-inch diameter. So it means that you and your engineers and technicians can learn only and can study the operation of one unit to put it on a large scale or wide range of filters. And the same as the backwash flow rate. So it is sometimes 4 times higher, for example, if we compare with Kanacher. So it means also that we can go quite high on the range of the filters from 6 to 21, and in other valves this range is quite low. I will quite fast also show the difference in the valve on the parts. So the Clack has the least parts that it consists of. So it's only 35 pieces. So this is the photo of the Kanacher valve that has more than 100, with many pieces that have to be somehow put together. Then we have 52 in Rankine. and EcoWater is quite close, it's 44 pieces. So this is generally the comparison of the valve and the valve features. So I will stop the presentation at this point, and let's talk on the questions. So the first question to Andrei is on the history of Ecosoft and Clack. So I know that we have started cooperation with Clack Valves, with Clack Corporation in 2004. And I know that was you who take this decision, and was you who went or traveled to the US. Please tell us how you come to this decision and what is the story behind.
Rosti, it's a great pleasure to have this discussion today. I hope we will one day we will see everybody alive, not just in the way of names and little abbreviations on the right side of my screen, and we can talk and have fun and do it in a nice surrounding also. So, you know, Clack Valve and the Clack as a company is for us a kind of religion and a family for many reasons. First of all, that you're right, we've been one of the first few companies in Europe who joined this wonderful journey together with the company of Richard Clack. Actually, we started in 2004. While being the part of Inaqua Group at that time. Inaqua Group was the first company in Europe who introduced Clack Valve to the market. And at that time, it was a rival to Pentea, to Fleck valves, which everybody used to use. And then the Clack was something new, completely different concept, completely different approach, completely different idea, very electronic, and it was really hard to convince people to do that. But we believe, because we had our experience at that time with Fleck and Ciata, and we really liked the idea of having the one valve for all the applications. And that for us as water specialists, young water specialists at that time, was a fantastic opportunity, because instead of having, you know, a lineup of 5-6 Fleck valves plus 2-3 Ciata valves, we just needed one valve from Clack. And then it was cheaper and it was better and it was a nice engineering. But I think the most amazing thing about this is the people behind the company and behind the product. And Don Vaughan, the developer, and John Piasecki, he passed away several years ago, but Don Vaughan is, thanks God, super powerful and super alive. And these two gentlemen, they have developed the concept of the valve together with Richard, and they were so committed to build a new, nice, interesting valve that you just could not stay away from these people. You could not stay away from this movement. It was kind of a religion already that days. And then I visited in 2008. I visited Windsor, Wisconsin. I don't know if many of you had been to Windsor, to Wisconsin in general. This is an area in between of Atlantic Ocean and Pacific Ocean, some Americans, they call it flyover zone. So the place where people just fly over, they don't stop there. So on the right-hand side, you have a potato field, and on the left-hand side, you have a cornfield. And then in the middle of this wonderful surrounding, you have a factory producing. At that time, it was quite a small business, producing mostly blow-molded products, brine tanks, cabinets, bottles, some quite crazy stuff. And then they started producing valves, because they Clack as a company and Richard Clack family, it has a big history, and it was very exciting to see this big history behind, and to see these people and to learn the valve. We started at that moment with Atlas, because of the Atlas of the world, because I came from Ukraine, and then American people at that time, they didn't know where Ukraine is. So we opened the Atlas, and we went through the Atlas. Okay, show us where you are. So you are not in Africa. You are not in Africa. It's nothing bad with Africa, but I didn't know where Ukraine is. So this is how we started. But then we did a lot of funny things together, including proprietary valves, proprietary products, and it is just amazing how this great company has been developed and have been grown and had been at the same time remained a very, very family and very warm business, which we absolutely enjoy to cooperate with.
And how
Yeah.
much and how much time did it? So you brought, I believe you brought the valve to Ukraine and then started to promoting. How much time did it take you to introduce the valve in the dealer network? What were the arguments? Why dealer believed you that they should go for this valve? They should use it in their filtration units.
This was quite easy because of all of the arguments, the technical arguments that you did already, that you showed already to our guests today. That for every water professional, for every reasonable engineer, it is quite clear that if you have a valve of 35 pieces and all this is a click and clack and very easy to build and to disassemble, this is like this is absolutely obvious that this is a good piece of equipment. And then it also worked very well, and there was never big issues with the valve. And the performance is fantastic because in our part of the world, there is always an iron is a problem. And when you have iron in water, you have two main issues with the valve. One is that the valve just gets stuck. The piston gets stuck in the body, and it blocks. And this never happens to the Clack valve for the reasons of the materials they are using in their stack assembly, the piston assembly, and the body. So it's a very let's say passive or neutral materials that don't get this abrasive thing. And then the second is the backwash flow rate. The whole idea of Clack valve at that time was that they tried to just they were focused to make the valve which is like the same flow rate, backwash flow rate as a service flow rate. And this was amazing at that time because all the valves used to have a very thin, or let's say very thin channel for the backwash, which made it mostly unusable for the iron removal purposes, where you need a lot of backwash during for the cleaning of the media, if it's heavy media or it's light media, but you need a lot of backwash in order to clean the media properly. And then Clack had it, and it was for us very easy to convince people to go for it. And then we basically, in 5-7 years, we converted the whole market, like Christianity in ancient Rome. We brought this valve, and in 5 years, there was no other valve on the market. I don't know, you have some statistics probably, right?
Yeah, I want to share the statistic that in 2020, the Ukrainian market was 20,000 filtration units, which is not bad, not a big amount in comparison to many European countries, but for Ukraine, this is a significant amount. But out of 20,000 filtration units, 16,000, 80% are built on the Clack valves. Like that, some of them are sold by us, by Ecosoft, some of them are sold by competition, but we have only 4,000 non-Clack valves on the market. So this is...
Yeah, it's becoming a golden standard now, especially in America. In the United States, the portion of, let's say, independent OEMs using Clack valves is huge. It's huge. I would say it's at least 60-70% of the market. In Europe, I guess we have less than these, but still it's a big portion, at least 30-35-40%. And I believe that for real water professionals, it's very important. What is important is that you don't your most expensive, your biggest expense is always a service. When you do the installation, when you do maintenance of the systems, of the softeners. And if something goes wrong with the valve, it means that it means that there is no water in the household or in the commercial site, and you have to send immediately the technician to fix the issue. And this is really bad when it happens regularly. And if you have a fleet of, tens of thousands of softeners, and these softeners go really like bad, then you need to send a lot of people to do that, to do the to do the maintenance. The good thing about Clack valve is that you don't do that. You don't need to do that, and you don't need to really. Basically, for years, for sometimes for 10 years, you can not touch the valve, and everything will be fine. Yeah, and I think this is the most critical part, which sometimes people miss here in Europe, opting for like cheap Chinese valves, and yeah, the initial cost of the unit is low, but then you have issues with the service and with with the maintenance and performance of the systems, and then this is really hard, and then you have to fix it.
Yeah, I remember like 7 years ago or 10 years ago, when we looked for the bigger market share in Ukraine, and we brought some equipment with low cost, and then we tried to catch some customers who didn't want to pay more for the water softener, and then we put it to our dealer network, and they tried softeners with I don't remember, it was Kennacher valves or other Saranxin valve, it does not matter. But then after I think few months, 3 or 4 months, they said, no, please don't offer us. We have already get used to the valve that we install once, and then we know that the next time we will come maybe in a year or in a 2 for the maintenance, but we would not go there very often. So it's the Clack, even though it is expensive, for them finally they earn just more because they'll have less expenses. And maybe you can explain a little bit to the customer, to our guests, what is the CE valve stands for. In 2014, we have launched a new valve together with Clack. What were the reasons?
Yeah, so Clack is producing the standard lineup of the valves, which is mainly in the WS1, which is Water Specialist 1. They produce basically 3 standard valves, which is a CT valve, which is a time control version of the valve. It's an EI valve, and it's a CI valve. And actually, there is American version, which is just Water Specialist 1 without any other additional letters, yeah, which is not really available in Europe. And besides these 3 types of controllers, let's say, this is the valve is the same, controller is different. Clack is also offering to the big customers like us and like some of our clients the unique proprietary valve design. This can utilize just a different shape of the face of the valve, and this can also be different controller, which gives a little more features, more opportunities for the service team, for the manufacturing team, and things like this. So we took this chance in 2014, and we have designed our own programming sequence and our own controller, which we thought about would work for both. Because our goal is to not only to deal with super professionals like all of you here, but also to deal with some younger dealers who just start their business and they don't know much about how water should be purified and how it should work. So this CE valve, it actually incorporated the 2 lines of programming. One line for super professionals who exactly know what they expect from the valve and what they expect from the system, and they can program each and every step of the regeneration. And then there was another line which everybody is now using, where we just pre-program the most popular applications of the valve, which is a softening, echo mix, filtration, activated carbon, and you just choose from the programs, the pre-designed programs. We choose if we build the system, or you choose if you build the system, the proper machine, and then all the parameters of the regeneration are already in the system automatically. You only need to input the hardness, and then the controller runs, and then it's that's the main idea for this valve. There are other nice features, like you can program your telephone of the service organization, or you can program the logo of the company on it, and then it has a nice backlit display, and it's a beautiful blue light that normally works well when you go in the bathroom at night. So it's always giving you some additional ambient light for your needs. This is basically, it's a unique valve which many of us like to use and prefer to use, and this is something I use at home. So it's a much better option for $10 more or $15 more than the standard CI valve.
According to your answers, so you know the programming and you know the internal design quite well of the valve. Do you suggest that everyone in the water professional company, like everyone, should know how to put the valve apart, how to program? So how deep? Because there is an opinion that only the technicians should know the details.
Yeah.
All other people in the company should know more or less the general information. But what is your opinion on this?
No, my opinion, you know my opinion very well. My opinion is that everyone, if we are in the water treatment industry, so water treatment industry is very complicated and very simple at the same time. So if you compare this to your car, so the machine, or to your computer, the water softener is a super simple piece of equipment, which anybody can build, anybody can operate, and anybody can service. And it's especially if you have a Clack valve, which is very intuitive in terms of programming, very intuitive in terms of assembling, disassembling. You cannot really make something wrong. So it's always super cool if you know how to do it. It's like your very easy journey, easy way into the water professional world. And you can pretend you're a water professional if you just learn how to operate the valve. And then everybody would say, wow, this is cool. You know how the valve operates. Huh? And this is kind of a signature, like water professional signature. Yeah, you sit together, you open the valve, you disassemble the valve, you assemble the valve, and then everybody knows that, okay, we talk the same language. And if you say, okay, I need to call my technician because I don't know how it's organized, then maybe it's it's little bit that you're doing something else. You're not really in this business. Yeah, this is we are in the guild a little bit. We are in a little unique market where you cannot learn this in this business in the university. You cannot learn this in the school. You only can learn it from people like us, more or less. Huh? And from mouth to mouth, from the teacher to the student. And then this is the easiest thing to learn. The valve is the nicest and easiest, and it's cool. There is no grease, there is no oil. This is not a combustion engine. This is a nice piece of equipment that consists only of 35 parts. It's much less than Kalashnikov machine gun. So you do it, you build it back, and then you are a hero. So everybody should do that.
We have a question from Emil from South Africa.
Yes.
Emil is saying that the Rangshin valve is the most popular valve in South Africa. And what is the main difference between Rangshin and Clack? Maybe we can split this in two parts. Maybe we can explain some general parts, and I will go in some technical details.
Yeah.
This is a nice question.
Rangshin it's a very good question. Yeah, because Rangshin is a real hero, or let's say a diamond in this oh, it's a good, it's not a diamond, it's a gemstone of the water treatment industry. Yeah, because the idea, the technology behind the disc valves is it's very smart. At the same time, it's not easy to achieve. Yeah, honestly speaking, it's not easy to achieve that the disc valve really operates properly, and this what Rangshin does pretty well. Yeah, and from just fair standpoint, then the Rangshin valve is okay valve. Yeah, but there are a lot of technical issues that make Rangshin valve impossible to use for water professionals, I would say. Yeah, this is something like this is the difference between. So I can give you a few stupid examples that you can use comparing Rangshin valves to, or let's say systems built with Rangshin valves to other products on the market. Like for example, the brine tanks. Yeah, so what is a brine tank? A brine tank is just a plastic tank. Yeah, the stupid plastic tank. There is nothing special about brine tank that it should be called a brine tank. Yeah, you can use any water vessel, any water can to, and you can pay for it $2, and you can use it as a brine tank. But instead of that, you buy specifically designed brine tanks and cabinets sometimes to build a nice product which is called water softener. The same thing with Rangshin valve and the proper valve. Yeah, the Rangshin valve is just a piece of equipment which switches the water flows. Yeah, in a good way. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. If it doesn't, you throw it away. You build another one because it's so cheap. You don't need to do anything else. Yeah, but if you respect yourself and you respect your customer and you don't want to, you want to build a decent piece of equipment because anyhow the customer, the end user would pay. So there is no situation where end user would pay 200 euro, 300 euro for the softener, and this would be a, I don't know, a very cheap installation. There are some issues, mostly in the commercial part. But if we're talking domestic, normally the person who builds a house, builds a flat, and he builds a nice, he makes a nice renovation of his bathroom. He is not willing to buy a cheap piece of equipment which is not 100% workable. Yeah, sometimes it will fail. Sometimes you need to come to switch the valve to throw it away, and then these people are actually looking for a solid piece of equipment for fair price. So in this term, if you took the relationship or ratio between performance and price, the performance versus price of Clack valve is twice better than performance versus price of the Rangshin valve. If you look at the 10 years interval between which people do the renovation of their houses, yeah, because this is normally the lifetime of the softener is a lifetime of the refurbishing the flat or refurbishing the house. Yeah. So, and then in these 10 years, a customer wants to buy a machine that will last, not the buy machine that will need once a year the throwaway of the valve and building a new valve and then changing the controller because it burns out, or changing the I don't know, the salt is not sucking, and then he's not happy with the water, and then. Yeah. And then in this ratio, quality versus price, Clack is double than the Rangshin. Price-wise, Clack is triple the price of the valve. This is it.
What advice we can give to Emil how to start making Clack valves more popular among dealers in South Africa? Because I know that Emil has a wide chain of dealers. What would be
you just have to stop selling Rangshin valve. This is very easy. Like you, Emil, you have a car dealership, or let's say you have a car distribution organization, and then you are now dealing with a very popular car, because the most popular car in the world is Toyota Camry. Toyota Corolla. It's the most popular car in the world. Yeah. The second most popular car in the world is what is this name of this Chinese? The BID, or not BID is now electric. The other one, the Rosti, tell me, the Chinese, nobody even knows the name. Yeah? Yeah, but this is the second most popular car in the world. Nobody knows the name. Yeah, but if you choose what kind of car distribution you want to have, a Volkswagen, or I would say then another, because Volkswagen is the third most popular car in the world, or you want to go to Chinese car manufacturers, which is the most popular one, and you have a choice. I assume you would go for something where you can make money, value, and you can deliver this value. What kind of value you can deliver with Rangshing? Except the price. You have no value. There is no value behind that. And then you just need to learn a little bit the valve. You need to find several, 3-4 topics, 3-4 points of why Clack-based softeners are better than Rangshing softeners, and just repeat it 20 times a day to your dealers. And because they know much less than you know, most probably they will trust you in 2-3 months, and they start dealing with that. That's very simple. For me, this is very simple. We have a lot of Rangshing, like people who are selling Rangshing valves in Ukraine, for example, and there is no success. They cannot sell anything. And there is also American market where they cannot sell anything. This is only Eastern Europe where they are successful, and South Africa.
Yeah, also this the putting the valve apart is the magic story when you have a Clack valve in your hands. So maybe so this is the way how we introduce the valve to our dealer network, because when you have the valve, when you have an engineer, experienced engineer, and you do it, you remove the PC board, you remove all the spacer, the piston, the meter. And for example, you could do the same in parallel with another valve, and this would be the very big difference, because when you can take it together with no tools, yeah, and nothing left on the table. So this is a very good, and in my opinion, the best explanation to dealers why they should deal with the Clack valve, but not another way of not another type of valves. Maybe we can talk now a little bit more about the maintenance of the valve. How I don't know. Can you may share the experience of the Ukrainian dealers, or we can do it together on how the maintenance take place. What do they deal? What do dealers do? What parts do they replace, or if they replace something?
Normally, they don't do anything. The cleaning of the piston is the only thing you need to do from time to time. What happens in the United States is that this piston business is becoming a new business, because what people do, they come once a year, they take out the piston, normally dirty, because it has iron or it has residuals of rust. Because in the United States, water softener is normally installed without any prefiltration. This is another big thing about Clack valve, which we miss from time to time, that actually it is not required. It does not require the installation of the prefilters. This is a statement by the manufacturer. So the valve is so robust that it does not really require that. We do that because we believe it helps, and we're also afraid that the water quality in America is a little bit better than the water quality, which is not true in Europe, but anyhow. So what they do, they take away the piston, they put the piston in the transparent bag, like you use in the security line in the airport, and they say, look, dear customer, this is 150 euro. You want me, I can replace it. If you don't want, I just wash it and put it back. And then normally customer says, yeah, that's a good idea. Once a year, we need to replace this thing. 150 euro. He puts the new one back, and that's the business. That's a big business. All the rest, there is no need for maintenance. There is no need for any kind of cleaning, special cleaning procedures. According to my knowledge and according to our experience for so many years, this is not what you need for the valve.
Yeah, this answer means that mainly you don't replace anything. So if you do the maintenance once a year, once in 2 years, and you do some check cleaning, every part of the valve would stay unbroken. And this is a big advantage because you don't spend too much time during the maintenance, too much time of technicians, and also a big advantage that that the valve operates a softener in the right way. It means that the consumer always get soft water or water without iron, so they don't call you on the accidents. Now we are like 15 minutes to finish, and I would like to ask our guests if you have any questions, technical, business, or any other type of questions that you may ask or you would like to ask. If you have, please raise your hand or you can write in chat. If no, I have also another question to Andriy. There is also a disc valve made by Clack recently. So it was, I think, 2016 when the Clack first shown this valve during the Aquatech show. What was the idea of the disc valve, and what is the current status of the disc valve?
Yeah, the concept of disc valve is it was to make let's say more like domestic oriented type of valve, because the WS1 is as a starting valve, or let's say the smallest valve in the lineup, is actually a big one. It has 6 cubic meters per hour. You don't need anywhere in domestic applications in reality. In reality, in Europe, where you have a smaller flats, smaller houses, you need 3/4 of an inch valve with maybe 2-3 cubic meters an hour flow rate. And this was an idea to create such a valve, which would be a low profile that can be incorporated in a cabinet type of installations, can be put under the sink and installed in such a specific applications. Additionally, the idea of this, another application for the disc valve was to, or is to be very robust and to act as a valve for filtration units. Pure filtration, like sand filters or active carbon filter or manganese green sand filters, where your raw water contains a lot of particles, contains a lot of silt and iron and something like this, and then you need a valve which would be very robust against this contaminants in water, and would work just as a filter without any prefiltration on the entrance to be really like withstanding this bad quality of the water. And this was developed, and it was very successful start. Unfortunately, in the beginning of this journey, they experienced some issues with the disc rotation, because the disc in this disc valve is made of some kind of a very, very unique German-made ceramic, which was so precisely polished that basically the two parts of the disc stick together and cannot rotate by the motor in some conditions. But these things are resolved many years ago, And now it's a perfect valve, which we will introduce to the market this year. Is a new will give them the new life. It will be hopefully better priced compared to the traditional lineup of the valves, and it will be also quite popular for small domestic application and filtration. So this is more or less the plan.
Thank you. So if we do not have any questions by now. No, one we have a question from Anton. Now there is a question of the development of IoT for Clack valve because EcoWater has one. And what about the Clack? Are they going to develop the IoT, the app?
Yeah, this is a good question, Anton. The idea of IoT, of connectivity, so internet connectivity and application for the software is very popular in our world, water treatment world. However, not many companies know what to do with this with this application and with internet connectivity, because basically what you normally do, Internet of Things or IoT connectivity has normally two purposes. One purpose is preventive service, so you want to know what happened if something goes wrong with the machine. You need to know this in advance before the customer gets in trouble, and then you send the service team in advance. The second application is the change of, or let's say, remote operation of the machine, the second purpose of the IoT. So you remotely change the parameters of the software of the machine to, these are real goals for IoT development across the world. Both not applicable for softeners, because there is nothing can go wrong with the softener if the softener is okay. Yeah, there is the only thing which can go wrong, you forget to put salt in. Yeah, and this is nothing you can do remotely, and this is nothing you can change. The only thing you can do, you can call the customer and say, okay, we need to put the salt in the system. Yeah, and this is realistically what you can do. And then the operation of the software is also doesn't make much sense, because if I mean you have the water quality, you cannot test the water quality remotely anyhow, and then there is no real need for that. So what people do, they do that like an app which is saying, okay, this is how much water I'm using, this is how much salt I'm using, or maybe I need to refill some salt, or maybe I need to start a regeneration. And this is something which Clack decided not to do as a company. And they decided that this can bring so many problems, unexpected problems to the valve, because they don't control the complete system, in contrary to EcoWater, who controls the system. They build the system, they control the system, and they only bring this to the one line of their machines,
Evolution,
which they only sell via super professional dealer channel. Yeah, and Clack does not control the system. They don't control the channel, and they understand that when they bring this feature to the valve, this feature will create much more problems than really the benefits. But they always have a solution for us, and we as Ecosoft, we are working on the alternative solution for where we connect an additional little controller to the valve, and with this controller we can remotely start regeneration. We, as well as the customer, can remotely start regeneration. They can see how much salt was used. Then they can see what is a typical water flow, and we can also control that. And this would give us additional feature. This is available actually. Yeah, this is Wi-Fi, but we are 100% against Wi-Fi as a means for IoT. Because we don't believe it, and we believe in the 3G connectivity, like cellular connectivity, which is much more efficient than the Wi-Fi. And this is something we really need to spend time on development. Hopefully, in the coming year or maybe maximum 1.5, we will come with the solution for this.
We have one more question, but before we jump to it, I would like to ask everyone to, if you would like to, can you write the name of the valve? What is the most popular in your company? It would be curious to know what is the variety. We have 30 people now online, so it would be a small survey for everyone, so everyone would see the answer. And we have a question from Rick. Rick is asking, what would be the difference between the FLAC and Clack valve? And yeah, how would you compare these two valves?
No, but this is a question to you, Rosti, not to me.
Okay.
Because from the strategic standpoint, Clack and FLAC are both. This is the same good quality of manufacturing, the same good quality of the company behind. No problem with FLAC valves at all. The only difference is basically the technical details. Yeah.
So the technical, I would put here the two main differences. The first main difference is inside the valve. So they are both piston valves, and the Clack valve had a spacer that is one-piece spacer. So you can easily remove it, you replace it or change it, or clean it and put it back. But in FLAC, the spacer consists of many parts. So when you remove it from the valve, so you have a couple of like 10 pieces that you have somehow to handle, clean, then assemble it back and put it in the valve like slice by slice. And it makes some complications during the maintenance. So the second difference is the controller or the PC board. A great advantage of the Clack valve is that all valves 1 inch, 1.25 inch, and up to 2 inch has exactly the same PC board, exactly the same programming. And this is very important for your technical stuff because we or you can teach them how to manipulate, how to program it. And finally, they have it in their truck. If something goes wrong, they easily replace, they easily do maintenance. However, in FLAC, you have a variety of PC boards, a variety of controllers, and it just takes much more time to learn in a good way how to use it. So finally, Clack would be much better in the time consumption during the education.
And also the flow rates. Yeah. The flow rates is much different. The backwash flow rate in normal residential FLAC valve is non-comparable to Clack valves. Yeah? So you can use one valve for so many different applications, and then you don't need to have different models for different applications. And this is, it's like little bit a lot of comparison with cars, but so the people in Clack are focused, including from the owner of the company to the engineer in the R&D department, are focused on making the best valve for water professionals on the market. Yeah, they're really focused on that. They do a lot of little changes, like which influence directly or indirectly the performance of the valve, like little springs, like little tiny improvements every week. Every week we get the update, the valve update, which is related to little changes, little improvements of the valve. This is like made daily. FLAC valve is a part of the huge corporation Pentea, yeah, which is a fantastic business-wise fantastic company. But I don't think that, yeah, many people in Pantea Corporation know about our business, anything about our business, honestly speaking. Yeah, I don't think they're really interested in making the best valve in the world. I don't think they're really focused that much on it. And this is also influencing a little bit the performance, a little bit the quality, and a little bit here and there. So price to quality wise relationship, yeah, is, and also commitment to price is so much higher in Clack valve that this is really, for me, this is really hard to compare. Taking into account that the Clack valve is a mother valve for Clack. Yeah, the team of Clack came originally from Pantea, from Clack, and it was the Clack is, let's say, a next generation Clack valve, if we can say so. Originally, it was. Hopefully, this answers, the question.
This is a good, I think, combination between technical business answers and also the focus on water treatment. So thank you. Now we are already 1 hour talking. So it was nice talk. Very different from the previous ones. Previously, we have talked more details on the products. Today, we have covered more development, business approach, how to make the most expensive valve on the market, how to make it very popular among the water specialists. So thank you, Andrei, for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
For questions. And we will see you next Friday. If you have ideas on what you would like us to talk, you're always welcome to tell us. If not, we will select a curious topic for next Friday.
Bring beer next time. Maybe I get recovered after my cold, and then we drink some beer.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Have a nice weekend.
Very nice weekend. Bye-bye.